Well, welcome. Oh, goodness. You thought the Meredith was here, but she's not. Yeah, welcome everybody. We're so glad that you're here. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're tuning in from. It's hard to believe it's August already. I know some of you, again, every time we start this off, we're a little bit of denial of how far into the year we are. But we are planning to get ready to go back to school. And for us, we just came off a really fantastic planning meeting with lots of our gathering planners down in Houston. The first kind of big meeting we've had in a while. Mark, typically we do a few more of those. Were you excited to kind of see all the planners together in Houston?
It was great to get everyone together and really hear the progress that's been made already, with certainly some of the uncertainties and new opportunities and challenges we have in planning a pandemic, but yet really excited for our planning teams and just the way they've been thinking of all our adult leaders and youth prepping for next summer, and great to have that energy and connection as we gear towards next July. So it was a great time, and great to have National Lutheran Youth Workers Conference as well last month for around 400 exhibitors and adult leaders and youth that were there. It was great just to bring people together, celebrate who we are in Christ, and look forward to next summer and just love on our youth and invest in our youth. It was great.
You might notice little different setup in that Meredith is not here with us. Meredith is away on vacation, enjoying his well-deserved rest. And with us is Mark. Mark, you want to introduce yourself to the crowd for people that don't know you?
Yeah, Mark Heasling, work here in LCMS Youth Ministry. Great to be with you. Work on some parts of the gathering and other things too. With our work supporting young people and all what you do as well, supporting them, your congregations, and encouraging them in their life in Christ. So thanks for all you do, and great to be with you today.
And if you haven't remembered, or if this is your first time watching, I'm Juliana Schultz. I'm a program manager for LCMS Youth Ministry. In particular with the gathering, I'm working on adult leader resources. And so today our goal is we have a lot of things to kind of share with you, a lot of different pieces that are going on, some new exciting developments. You might know a few of them if you've been watching the page and getting the updates. So we're going to kind of walk through a few of those, starting with the YAV application is open. Woo! We are very excited to have to stop answering the question, when is the YAV application? Our YAVs are a phenomenal group of young people who are always very excited to be a part of the gathering. So in the chat, share with us if you were a YAV, what gathering were you a YAV at, or if you've supported YAVs in the past, what did that look like for you? Have you brought YAVs with as a part of your group or incorporated them into your fundraising? So share that in the chat if you were YAVs. I know there are a lot of people who were. We had, how many YAVs did we have at the last gathering, Mark?
About 600.
Wow.
Yeah. It's awesome. I mean, truly, if you've been to a gathering, you know, or you'll get experience if you haven't been to a gathering. They're just an amazing part of our event. I mean, our other people that we work with, like in our buildings and things, they just love our young adult volunteers, and just is such a special part of our event. The energy they bring, the connection they bring, just love our young adult volunteers. We already have 350 young adults who have started an application online, which is exciting. So looking forward to that next summer and seeing how God blesses their process and get to see them next year. So we're excited. And thanks for all that you're doing to support them as well, to be there.
Yeah. So yeah, application is open. That link is going to be on the LCMS Gathering website. So go there, go to volunteers, scroll down. You're going to be able to link to that application. Let those young people fill out that application. We are looking to get 900 applications. That's the team's goal. So we want to make sure that you not only know where that application is, but that you're sharing it widely with all the young people who you are connected with, who might be interested in that. And who are we looking for? So young adult volunteers who aren't familiar are 19 to 25-year-olds who serve at a lot of different aspects of the gathering experience. So they're going to do everything from helping out on the programming floor to traffic control to helping make sure things go smoothly in our sessions, to all sorts of different different things that they can do. And they can tell us a little bit about their gifts and skills as a part of the application process. And then we'll be able to place them in roles. And they get to come and spend that time both together as a group, both in training and in their housing. But then they get to kind of break off into teams. 600 seems really overwhelming. You do get into the kind of like smaller teams that then you support you as you do those different things. So we're really excited about our YAVs and our YAV applications. In fact, we've already, at least the last time I heard, had 350 applications started, not all completed. So make sure people complete applications as well. And Mark, how long is that application going to be open? And then kind of what are the expectations for YAVs in terms of finances and that kind of thing?
Absolutely. So the application remains open through the rest of the year. So December 31st of 2021, the application will close. So you got plenty of time, again, to continue to connect with your young adults, or those of you that are on here right now and heading off to college campuses can connect with more friends when you get back. So plenty of time to apply for that. There is a $395 registration fee, which again, as Juliana said, covers your housing, some meals during the training. Then YAVs are expected to get themselves to Houston. We'll have more information on that. Some travel with their groups if the timing's right for them, or maybe travel home. So again, another great connection to be with your young adults. And then the other piece that I would say about that is that the payment is not due right away. It'll come later in the process. So again, if they're worried about finances right now, that can come later. When there can maybe be more support from the congregation or parents or whoever might be, but we'll have that available in 2022. And probably they'll hear from us about acceptance and next steps like in February of 2022 after the team gets to look through all the applications. So there'll be a little bit of a communication that'll come early in 2022 so they know as they're starting to get summer jobs and that type of thing. But again, we're just so thankful for all the way our congregation support our young adults to be a part of the event and to support the event in so many ways.
Yeah, love to see lots and lots of leaders who are going to be leading groups who were previously. We love that. We know that young adult volunteers and that experience is fantastic, and it's just always a joy to watch them. They're wonderful. So YAVs being a key one, we want you to kind of get that out to your young people. I see some great people who are saying like, yeah, we incorporate them into the fundraising. So if that price points be not something they can just pay out of pocket, how can you incorporate them into those things? So somebody's asking, so their housing,
That's correct, Jennifer. Yep. Housing, and then a few meals like during training. In the past too, sometimes we've had like a gift debit card that can cover some meals too. We don't know how that figured out yet, but we try to support them the best we can. People will provide some snacks and things too, just to help them along the way. But we love supporting our YAVs that way, but definitely housing as a part of that registration fee.
Yeah, fantastic. So be sure to be sharing that. The other application that will reopen soon is not right now, but will be opening soon, is going to be your Flex application. And this team is, we saw a bit in the last gathering. It's definitely kind of, we maybe don't know what Team Flex is. I still, I was like, okay, remember what Team Flex is. Mark, what's Team Flex?
So Team Flex, our team loves to do the kind of flex thing with it, but it's short for flexible. These are volunteers who can come and serve in a variety of ways as well, but maybe don't have the opportunity to make the longer commitment that our ambassadors and our young adult volunteers do. So this is age 19 and plus as well. Again, if you can make the larger commitment, or if you've got young adults, we really encourage them to do the young adult volunteers to be able to be with their peers and connect that way. But we understand too, some because of work or other reasons may not be able to commit to the full gathering plus the days of training. So we have Team Flex 19 and above. This might be our local volunteers like in Houston or the Texas district, but as well, you might have gifted adults who just want to come and be a part of the gathering. They want to come and serve, and there may be don't have time to make the adult leader commitment, or maybe your ratio is such that you don't have space for all your adults. This is a great way for them to invest in young people, invest in the youth, be encouraged themselves in their faith walk, to come to the gathering and be around these amazing young people and around you and the way you pour into kids. So this is, again, basically you get registration for the day you serve. So if you want to serve one day, you basically a registration that you'd be able to come for that day plus the time you serve during that day. You can do up to 5 days, so you could be at the entire event if you serve those times. Again, a wide variety of roles that we'll figure. This is kind of a flexible volunteer opportunity that comes. We get more details later in the process where we see where our needs are at. Part of our overall Blue Crew connected with our ambassadors. So kind of our larger term is what we call adult volunteers. So again, another set of eyes and ears to support our young people, providing a safe environment, hospitable environment for you as adult leaders and also for your youth. One thing I'll add to this, so partly why we took Flex was open a little bit earlier, we took it offline, and why we pushed the app back a little bit. If you can either, if you got Flex volunteers in your church that want to volunteer that, or if you've got a young adult volunteer, you want to look over their shoulder a little bit, what we're really excited about is they are applying on our new registration program. Woo! So that's an exciting change for us too, that we've really been working hard on. So it kind of gives you the look and feel a little bit of it. I mean, again, it's obviously going to look different, one for our actual registration with congregations. But that's one of the reasons why we took that offline a little bit and to reinstate it, because now it's all under our kind of new registration hood. So we're really excited about that. So if you have a YAB that they can either log back in and kind of show it to you, or if you got one starting the process, or a Team Flex in the future before we open up registration, that'll at least kind of give you the visual of what our registration program will look like. So really excited about that, and really thankful the way too that you encourage other adults to come and serve at the gathering. It's Team Flex has been a huge addition for us, and just in terms of additional hands for creating a safe and hospitable environment for you.
Mark, there's a question here. At Team Flex adults, they're going to house separately and not necessarily with your group, correct?
Correct. So they would be responsible. So no fee for Team Flex. Again, they get the day they serve. So it'd only be 1 day or less. If they serve 5 days, they'll get a pass for 5 days with their expectation to serve. And then housing, transportation is everything on the Team Flex volunteer. So they would not be housed with your group. Certainly there are open rooms in some of our hotels that you might be able to get, like on Expedia or something like that. They're free to do that. There would be open space if they wanted to stay in the area, but we would not encourage them to be seen as another adult leader for your group, as they're going to be they'll have a pretty full work day plus have their time with the event itself. But still can maybe connect for a meal, could connect for some other things. But again, they will definitely have separate housing that they can do BR&Bs, they can do friends in Houston, whatever it might be, that they can use for their housing as well.
Yeah. So we are super excited about Team Flex. All of our adult volunteers, truly, like, we could not do this event without volunteers.
Absolutely.
We are so incredibly grateful for our YABs, for our gathering ambassadors, for Team Flex, for every component of our volunteer teams that make that happen. And it was great to see the team that's planning and prepping and training. We are already talking about how we're going to train those people and use those people even now as we're preparing different parts of the gathering. So as Mark mentioned, moving us to the next thing, we are on a new registration software, which is just super stressful and exciting, all the things right now. So you should have had, well, on its way to you, if it hasn't already arrived, is a poster with your congregational number. It's coming to your congregation. So be sure to warn whoever's opening your mail that it's going to be coming. So you're going to use that information as well as the congregational ID when we do open up the portal for you to be able to put in information to register and to register for the event. Some people are saying, like, we haven't seen it yet. The Postal Service works at its speed, so we can't guarantee that it has gotten to you yet. We would say maybe give it another week or so, Mark.
Yeah, I'd say till next Friday.
Yeah, and then at that point, if you certainly haven't seen it, then you can email our office and ask for that information. We can provide that for you. So we will have that. One of the things that you can be thinking about now as you're preparing for registration is going to be things like on-site or off-site sermon events. That may be one of the program options you're going to have to make a decision on fairly early. We're going to have both of those options. Your off-site sermon events this time are going to be an additional cost, but they're also going to include a meal, and they're going to be a little longer than they have been in the past. We'll have more details on that for you soon. They're wrapping up kind of what they think that will look like, and we'll have that available to you before you do registration. So coming out to you pretty quickly. A thing that we want you to, I know lots of people are worried about registration, want more information. Here's where we're going to point you to. So we're going to do a Facebook Live September 2nd. We will be talking through some of those pieces on September 2nd. We're going to release a podcast on September 7th that will give you more information. So mark those 2 dates on your calendar, the 2nd and the 7th. Both are going to be totally focused on helping give you specific instructions on registration, how to make registration happen, what do you need to do. And then the postmark, the first day that you can postmark. So you can't postmark any earlier than November 1st. So just to kind of give everybody a timeline of when you can expect more information and when you can be thinking about your postmark, because I know people are already antsy to start to get that information, and we are still figuring out a new registration software. So we're trying to balance that out, make sure everybody gets all the right information in the right places. We're going to be able to do that. Mark, any other deadlines that we need to be thinking about?
Those are definitely the big key ones to be thinking about those. Again, we pushed back the postmark date than previous gatherings, just with things going on with coming out of the pandemic and regrouping again this fall. So push that back. Again, really encourage you to get your information in, even if it's not complete, as best you know by that time with that November 1st postmark. That will help us just to know the hotel. That increases your opportunity to be at a downtown hotel, those types of things. So really encourage you to be looking at that November 1st date. That again, even if you know you got kids to add on later, that's okay. Get your first wave in by November 1, so we can begin our planning and know that you're on your way. And that gets you into the system too, which is great. So we can kind of start to get to be familiar with that and get communication. And then it'll be really into March when the price will go up. Will be the kind of the next big major day, March 2nd. Price will go from $395 to $450. And then kind of the beginning of May 4th is the other date to have in mind. That's really the last day where we have allow you to add people on and make those changes. So kind of if your team kind of timing that out in your church to have those key dates on your calendar and communication with families and young people.
Yeah, okay, I'm seeing a couple of questions in here. It might be helpful for us to answer. Mark, do we have a time on how much Team Flex will be working each day?
Great question. Would probably expect a 4 to 8 hour commitment. It's kind of what we're hoping to probably be more 4 to 6, a little bit less, but probably 4 to 8 would be the expected commitment for a Team Flex volunteer.
Yeah, and then Cindy's mentioning your ID is on your envelope, right? So you're gonna get super excited. You're gonna rip open that envelope. You're gonna toss it in the trash, and then you're going to regret that because your congregational ID is on your envelope. So don't forget that congregational ID is on your envelope. I'm going to have you guys, we're going to transition a little bit, and it's going to take us just a second because Mark's going to share his screen with some maps, which is very exciting. But as he does that, I'm going to have you guys in the chat. I'm not going to answer them now. Krista would hurt me, right? Like, I'm not answering any questions about registration. I'm not that expert. But what questions do you want us to be sure to answer, either on the live or on the podcast? What questions do you want to make sure that we answer? Right? Drop those in the chat. If you have specific questions you want to make sure gets answered either in the live or the podcast, drop them in the chat. Not going to answer them now, but we can hear your questions so that we can make sure that you guys have those questions answered. All right. Mark was fast in that transition, and somebody's asking, about walkways in the convention center. Mark, tell us about the gathering complex.
All right, we are excited. So if you were on maybe some earlier communication or had been on in the Facebook group earlier, you saw us make an announcement this spring about the gathering complex. So this is this term we want you to be familiar with. We're in our planning process being familiar with it. Is really what we're kind of calling all our major facilities that we're using in downtown Houston. Downtown Houston's a phenomenal downtown area. I've been so excited to get in there a little bit more with National, some other things. I know some of you were there, they got to see it. And so this is a term that we're really using to talk about our main areas. I'm going to go through real quick because they've changed now a little bit. If you're at National, you saw the announcement around the Facebook group, but we want to give an update on that just so you kind of start to get oriented to downtown Houston and how we're utilizing that space. As we kind of look at downtown Houston here, this is just kind of one simple map. This is actually the hotel map, if you will, that they give us about kind of looking where the hotels are at. So I know someone asked in the chat about our hotels connected by walkway. We do have two major properties. It's number 1 and number 2 on this map. the Marriott, the Hilton that I'll talk about here in a little bit more. But essentially, we have most of the hotels downtown Houston contracted, other than maybe really small ones or that have like a lot of king rooms. We like to get as many double rooms as we can for your groups. And so for by and large, you're looking at kind of the distance here. So at National, we were at the Hyatt, which is number 19 on this, which is about as far away as you get from the gathering complex. And those of you that were there, you walked it. If you went down the convention center, it's maybe a 15-minute walk in Houston. Be prepared for Houston heat, certainly, but that's about as far as you get away in terms of being in downtown Houston. So that kind of just gives you a lay of the land. Down at the bottom of that map, you see, again, where the gathering complex is, which is the Convention Center, Discovery Green, to the hotels, and Minute Maid Park. So this was really exciting news for us that we got announced at National that we added Minute Maid Park to be the location of stadium events for the gathering. We had been working out with the plan, and we're so thankful for the Convention Center staff that was working with us to have a plan where we were going to have the stadium events there. But we really just felt the more we talked with the city and with the Convention Center, with having 20,000 plus people in one location for one day or for the whole day, with all the food opportunities and things, the city worked with us to really think that maybe it's better that we do utilize Minute Maid. And if you saw yesterday, the Major League schedules came out and there was an open spot on the schedule when we were there. Praise be to God. Talk about God working in all things is that we saw God work this out for us. And we are so excited then to be able to have our stadium events in Minute Maid. We think from the production side, it'll just be better. It'll be a better event for you and our young people, as well as just from a safety and food side as well. We think it'll be great. So now the gathering complex, and I'll show you this in a map here in a minute, is the George R. Brown Convention Center, Marriott Marquis, the Hilton Americas Houston, which are both connected by a walkway to the George R. Brown Convention Center right downtown. We have a large block there as well for participants. Minute Maid Park, and then Discovery Green, which is the park just outside George R. Brown Convention Center. So here's some quick photos of Marriott, lower left-hand corner, Hilton, lower right of the Convention Center, Discovery Green's the park that you see there, and then Minute Maid Park. We will have, I saw this question come up earlier, we will have the roof closed at Minute Maid Park, at least is our plan right now. And so then we'll have our events there in the evening and then our closing worship on Wednesday morning there. So just be thinking about if you're in Minneapolis, you know, we had some natural light. It was really beautiful at US Bank Stadium. Houston will have a similar situation. There's some glass there, but the sun sets about 30 minutes earlier in Houston in July than it does in Minneapolis. So again, we'll have a great opportunity to be in that space. This is another map. This is kind of like a flipped 180 from the previous map, if you will. So now kind of east is at the top of the map. Just kind of give you an idea of this is kind of the block we look at. We can probably look at our complex now covers maybe an 8 block by 3 block perimeter, I should say, of downtown Houston. And then specifically what we see of our daytime program is probably about a 5 block by 3 block. So not a huge area. So we really want you to be thinking about this as being one space when we have program going on at the Hilton and the Marriott with some of our sessions and bands and other things going on, Bible studies taking place there, as well as at the Convention Center. So just kind of minimize it down a little bit. This is really what we're looking at for the complex. Minute Maid is just basically 2 blocks away. We're looking at, you know, what can maybe go on in that space there with parking lots and other things for some food venues, if that's an option, but then certainly utilizing the other space. So daytime program being at the Convention Center, the Hilton and the Marriott, just to kind of give you an idea of what that space is, again, connected by walkways, sessions and Bible studies in those facilities, as well as other things that will take place. So just as you're kind of gearing through, be thinking of where those spaces will be. Again, not a long walk. If you've been to New Orleans or you've been to other convention centers that we had, or Minneapolis when we were using the hotels there, it is closer than the proximities we had there. So again, just be preparing yourself for that when we start to get into more details of where the program will be. Discovery Green, again, being that park right outside of George R. Brown Convention Center. Right now, our plans will be, we'll shut down the street outside of George R. Brown Convention Center for food trucks and other venues, places to grab lunch and dinner before the mass event. And then also into the Discovery Green is a public park. And so again, a great opportunity to be outside, get some fresh air and also do some activities with your youth. And then also to take advantage of things like the food truck and other food that is there. There may be more programming that happens there. We're still figuring that out, but nonetheless to know that that space is there. If you are at a downtown hotel as well, you'll get familiar walking through Discovery Green for sure. As you make your way to George R. Brown Convention Centers, that will be the safest way to cross the street and get to the location you need to be. And then again, Minute Maid Park, we're so excited to be there in the evenings for mass events, and then also for our worship on Wednesday morning. Again, just 2 blocks away, and that'll be our focal point during that time. And that'll be, again, a walkable distance then from all the hotels downtown. We'll have shuttling for those that are outside, shuttling from the Galleria area, short shuttle ride our team will do a great job with that. And then also, again, a short walk from other restaurants and things that are downtown. So just again, wanted to give you that quick update of what the Gathering Complex looks like in downtown Houston. We'll continue to get more details going ahead, but we are so excited. Thank you for the prayers that you've lifted up on behalf of our staff as we figure this out, and continue to pray. As you can imagine, this is pretty late in the game to make a change like this for us in our planning process, but we're excited about it. And so that's given us great energy.
No, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. Right. Yeah, we are so excited. I'm seeing lots of really great comments in there about like, hey, yeah, it's not a mile, 2-mile walk. It's very centralized, which is really exciting for us. And it's exciting because Houston is hot. So that's there, which is fair warning. Houston is warm. But also, I had a couple people ask in the chat, hey, can we get access to these maps? Yes, they're going to be a part of the August resource drop. So we're going to have them up on the Adult Leader resource page for you to be able to download and put into PowerPoints as you're talking to your groups, or just to be able to look at them. We're going to make those available to you. But that is something that we will do, is we'll include kind of the images of the maps so that you guys can navigate through that and think through that in advance. And hopefully some of you were at National and got a chance to kind of walk around this area and get a little bit of a feel for the space. But there's just a really neat complex of places. And so you're going to hear us talk about the Gathering Complex. And so you kind of have a sense of, when we use that term, what are we talking about?
And Julianne, I should add, I forgot to say that in my time too, just so you know as well, one thing to be looking forward to is the terminology we're using is a comprehensive food plan, is what we're working with the convention center as well. It. And so look for new options. Thank you for those of you that let us test some things in Minneapolis and the feedback we received. And so probably, again, more enhanced options for like dinner, especially through maybe the convention center, working out what we can do at Minute Maid, but Discovery Green, maybe some pre-purchase options so that you can kind of get that off your plate. You know exactly where you're going to be that night for dinner, and you just kind of have to show up with your youth. So we're working on some options there too that will hopefully help you in your planning process. So be looking forward to that. That probably won't come out until 2022, but just be aware of that as you're planning to be thinking about those coming forward as well. We'll certainly be updating it here in other places.
I love hearing. I just like, that is a key thing for me. I want all my food planning to be comprehensive, right? Like it is, and I am really excited about how we're managing that and that space and the things that we're going to be able to do with that. So but as you guys know, like, we can't release information we don't have. We really want to make sure that we're only sending out information that we know is going to be accurate to help you guys as part of the planning process. So you're not going to see that right now, and we'll get that out. Somebody asked about when is the August resource drop happening. Tentatively, and don't hold me to this, don't tell anybody, even though there's like 90 of you in the room. The plan is next week, but we've had a couple of things that kind of switch up. So that's our hope. Once that stuff is up, we're going to put it up as soon as we can. We hope it's going to be next week. And if not, it'll be early the week after. But we will put that all up on the page. So you'll be able to see the link. We'll tell you when it's available. So you'll be able to look for that. I'm looking through things here. Yeah. If we aren't catching your question, we'll be sure to try and check it in the chat afterwards. You should be alerted when that happens. But a little more about that August resource drop, just to make sure that everybody is going to lcmsgathering.com/resources. You can find all sorts of information there. This time we're going to be able to, like I said, we're going to have some maps there. We're going to talk a little bit about helping students in crisis. We have a couple of pieces for that. We're going to have some travel tips. We're going to have our first longer form Bible study around the theme, which is super awesome, designed by our Bible study team. It's going to be about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour in length. We're also hopefully going to be having a set of devotions available that are going to be kind of a little bit lighter in terms of content, more like 10 minutes. so that you can opt to do either one with your group. So you can either opt to do a longer Bible study with your group, or you can do kind of the devotions as a start to your meetings and that kind of a thing. So you can kind of pick and choose what works for your group. There will be some additional Bible studies that will drop between now and the gathering. I believe that there are at least 2 that are going to be coming. And then there'll be one that'll happen that we want to encourage you to do on your way to the gathering, and one on your way back from the gathering. So you can kind of expect that those resources will come out gradually over the next couple of drops for resources. So we have some great stuff happening there. We're already at our time. So I'm looking through at our last. So yes, the devotions and just the first study will be available in that August resource drop, absolutely. But also be sure to go back and check and look at some other information. We got lots of other pieces there that you can look at. We're just really, our adult leader team did a really great job of designing resources. You're going to get 2 more resource drops kind of as we go along for you to be looking at. But as we kind of finish our time here, we are so grateful for you. We're so thankful for all of the things that you do in caring for young people, not just at the time of the gathering, but now as they're looking at new things going on and a new start to a new school year. We know lots of churches are looking to kind of do some more kickoffs. I saw a great post on the group about Rally Day. So hopefully people are using that as a way to combine ideas and to think critically about how you're doing youth ministry. We will be back. Make sure that you have your date set and it's on the timeline calendar for our next Facebook Live. And then that podcast is going to be coming out. So looking forward to September, where we're talking more about registration, because then it's real and things are happening. You're excited. Else to close us out, Mark?
I don't think so. Thanks just for everyone for joining in and all you're doing, supporting your young people.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, everybody.